going to be a bit of a visual extravaganza for you, because most of the things that have been said before, I'll be continuing with, to give you a sense of visual, because a lot of things are abstract when you can't see what you're relating to, for example, some of the highways or the power stations. So let's begin and get started. Okay. I'll be talking about China's geoeconomics, the vision, Cpec, and how it's input as part of Obor, One Belt, One Road, the larger vision that Cpec is part of. And we need to take this into account, because Cpec isn't everything. It is dynamically a lot for Pakistan, and it's fundamentally going to change our future. However, it's part and a small part of what is the greater vision and future for the world, as I see it. And maybe what I will be talking about is something that translates what China may envisage for the future globally. You can see some of the things I'll be talking about throughout. Again, these are my views, do not represent the National Defense University nor the government of Pakistan. And I take all responsibility for what I say. Although it's not controversial, it's all very pro-Pakistan and pro the world from here. That's the problem with not being able to see what you're looking at. Let's look at the rise of China. I think our colleague and senior senator, Akram Zaki, talked about the rise of China, how it's risen from the ashes that were subdued by the Western nations, especially Britain. But it was at the top of the league, owning half the GDP of the world for many centuries, even millennia. And it was subdued because of internal issues and problems. And as is always the case, disunity from within invites problems from without. And other countries try to take a step up based on your disunity and take advantage of the different fissures that may take place, which has been happening in Pakistan as well, may I say. So one of the things that we find here is that Pakistan as a country is united for once in many years. In many years we're united politically, economically, militarily, in every which way to come towards a greater future for our country and a greater future in the Committee of Nations to take the world to that direction. China in itself, its economic growth has been extraordinary in the last 25, 30 years since it took a directional change. And it's taken another direction to take the world in a new direction. From conflict to peace and co-engagement and coexistence. To live together. Not a zero sum, not one win, one loses. We can all win in this. And this is the message that we need to portray to the rest of the world. That this is not a threat to anybody. Our vision of what Cpec is and what Obor is will unite what our ideas may be for the future of the globe. But still, we live in a real political world. Real politics is the norm. And the narratives that are played out, the perceptions of others' intentions, unfortunately, are negative. And there will be resistance to this, there's no doubt, for potential short-term gain to the detriment of long-term prosperity for humanity. Look at the world from a different direction. I see China sees it from their perspective. We see many maps where the Western world dominates, where the maps envisage the Western world dominating the rest of the world and how you see it, but every country sees it from their perspective. And I think that China sees this from there, as the center of their own world. But it's not just this. It goes beyond this. They're willing to take and share with us. And this is the greatness of what we see in this vision. When we talk about geoeconomics and this dimension, we talk about demographic migrations, people, movement. We talk about capital flows. What does that mean? Capitalism? Not necessarily. It's about production. How resources are used by different countries in which place. The world is changing now. No country can dominate. Everybody is becoming interdependent economically. Where supranational organizations exist. World Trade Organization, IMF, World Bank, and Chinese organizations now, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, for example, and others are taking greater precedence and greater control of our future. And in doing so, we need to learn how to integrate all these different organizations together to have a formulation of what we all would like in the future through our connectivity. And Obor, as well as Cpec, is all about connectivity, as was mentioned earlier on. Connectivity through physical infrastructure. Akram Zaki mentioned the internet, connecting us virtually. Now it's time to physically build upon that connectivity mentally, abstract forms, down to reality, where we can all benefit. I find that, let's talk about the old Silk Road. The old Silk Road has been around for thousands of years. It came into dysfunction a while back. And this is a reinvigoration of what that dream was. It connected the world. For some reason, it fell apart because of the Dark Ages in Europe and other parts of the world where conquest and war was taking precedence everywhere. But it's reinvigorated. We're in the age of a new enlightenment, I find. A new enlightenment which will allow more connectivity. If you look at this, from China, from Xi'an, the old capital, coming across through Central Asia, all the way to north of Afghanistan and Afghanistan through the Persian Empire at that time, into the Mediterranean Sea. But the access to the Mediterranean Sea right now is in devastation. Syria. Small-term knowledge, small-term ideas and narratives fighting with each other for small-term gain, to the detriment of our humanity. It's about destruction, or do we want something more? And this is what Obor, One Belt, One Road, and Cpec, and other projects around this region envisage. To not go down that direction, not to destroy, to rebuild, to reconstruct. So this is China's vision. If you can see the visual, one of these is very similar to the old Silk Road, but it's enhanced. It links up Southeast Asia, it links South Asia through Cpec, our corridor. This is the model example. If this wins, and we win in Cpec, the rest of it will follow through. And Pakistan being in one of the most difficult positions in the recent history and our recent past in the last few years, if we can win it here, if we can work together, if we can do what is right and construct this vision, we're talking about reconstructing the vision of the world. And I'll go into that slightly later. Let me talk about Cpec. Now, it's often been said that this is pragmatic in China. Pragmatism is obvious in business. You need to save and increase your profits. Why do something which costs more when you can do something which costs less with a slight investment? It's basic business investment. My father was a businessman. I grew up in a business household. I learned this from the ground up from a very young age. I may be a professor of strategic studies now, but business is largely part of what I do also. So I have an understanding of money and the value that has to changing people's lives. So saving money means you can put money into yourself. You can keep the money in your pockets and invest it in your own economies. It's called economic density. Invest it in your country. This is why infrastructure is necessary, to allow us to fluidly negotiate out in together with each other, to interact, to build Pakistan through one unifying road, so one corridor that unifies all our nations, in other words. Some of the wheels of transformation, some of the phases that we may go through are regional development, through regional connectivity, going on to foreign direct investment coming into Pakistan and engaging. They're going to only come here when they see there's a potential for profit. Why would somebody put money into a dead end? Nobody will. But they put money into a place where they can take money out and profit from it. And there's no harm in that. We want them to come in. We want people and companies and multinationals, other countries and organizations to come in and invest. And this is the opportunity that we will get. We will benefit from that investment, and an opportunity that is provided through Cpec allows that. That would allow our own growth in infrastructure to build, and all services to be incorporated within the country. Yet we have a lot of responsibility towards ourselves as a country. which means we need to show ourselves up. Absolute transparency, accountability, zero tolerance for corruption. We know corruption is everywhere. We have to give it up. We have to look at the longer term vision. To be an honest society, you need to be more open in who you are and what you are. Not hide yourselves behind false faces and screens. And live towards a more prosperous and stable Pakistan. More stable, unified Pakistan means less interference from other countries who want to undermine us and destroy us with their variegated and machinated ideas and philosophies that they utilize against us for their own benefit. Tell them, you can benefit by sharing things. It's another narrative, another way of thinking. This is what we're trying to do. Sadiq Kazmi and the ambassador have already talked about some of the pieces of facilities, some of the money that's going in. I'm just going to glance over this very quickly. Some of the things that they've already said, I'll just give you a visual one, so I won't explain too much. To the sector-wise allocation that Sadia talked about earlier on. There is a discrepancy. Balochistan, the largest province, maybe not the most populous, the largest province, is not getting as much money. This has a lot to do with provincializing everything in this country. This is a lot to do with ethnic politics. We're here to unite the country, not divide it. We must get over our ethnicities and become one Pakistan. I was born in England. I was born Pakistani. I wasn't born Pashtun, which is what I am. I was engaging with other Pakistanis from different communities, but all I saw when I was young were people fighting amongst themselves. And I'll say something that you might find offensive. Whether we were Mifuri, whether we were Baloch, whether we were Punjabi, or Pashtun, or Kashmiri, or other clans, or Sindhi, or Gujarati, or Indian, or Bangladeshi. This is what we need to work towards, really, more than anything else, I think, rather than just the economic side. So the unifying corridor, uniting the country for once through massive trade and economic prosperity. There are many trade zones, economic trade zones, free trade zones. For example, the one nearest to us, Hassan Abdal, all the way down to Rwanda, and others in between. This is what is envisaged. Some of the key economic nodes are the major cities around those areas are going to benefit massively as well, because they're going to have connecting roads to these motorways and access, and allow capital to build up and transport itself across the country through those different ventures. Some of the motorways, it looks more complex here, a massive motorway. When I was growing up in England, I noticed that it's completely interconnected through motorways and rail networks, although slightly more expensive than most countries on the rail side. But that interconnection, that connectivity between different cities and hubs, industrial hubs, financial and commercial hubs around that country, is what made it what it was after the Second World War. It rebuilt itself. What I failed to understand was why Pakistan wasn't doing this at the beginning. But now, that's a past. This is the future. We're going to connect ourselves. Well, a lot of the controversy has been on, for example, the western route, the eastern route, the central route. These are some of the visuals of what is going to happen. Many of you probably already seen this. Everything can be found on the internet. This is what we're visualizing. I didn't take anything from secret, classified source. This is very much open source and open knowledge. Anybody can have access to the central and to the eastern, covering most of the country. Controversy is built into our DNA, I think, in Pakistan. But I think we're going to come out okay. All the way from China, heavy cargo rail networks, moving from the south to the north and vice versa. Approximately 5 billion will be spent for upgradation eventually, with 250 new passenger coaches for passengers. But primarily, I think, for Cpec, it's going to initially be for cargo. And Rwanda. Get a visual of this. Connected throughout the region. Very well connected through the flights, as was mentioned earlier on, to an international airport that is being built. One of the things I want to mention, to reinforce an idea, and this is the causeway that leads up to the main port. The international airport is a 230 million project, 3,000 acres, connecting on an international standard. We need this to compete with other hubs around the region. Just a small visual of the port itself and what's envisaged for it to be. There's more detail than that on the internet. You can find those examples. And primarily what we suffered for the last few years are energy deficits. We have some solar power near Obor, one of the world's largest, with a potential from 900 million voltage production expected. Construction 3 phases to be completed, probably delayed slightly right now. The Obor being at the top there, one of the largest in the world. We're coming to the forefront in leading the world in renewable energies. I think Pakistan needs to do more extensive work on this and be less reliant on other issues. And energy shortages that we've been suffering from for many years now will slowly evaporate. We won't even notice it as our minds develop new hopes and new aspirations for the future. Coal-fired stations, as the Deputy Ambassador mentioned as well, at Qasim, produce more energy. The potential we have with hard coal, for example, utilize that whilst we can. And new technologies come about, in fact, in recent months, which will come into production, where the transfer of, should I say, CO2, transforming CO2 into hydrogen and water, very quickly and efficiently. New technology will be coming about, which could be utilized in these coal-fired stations to allow us to have further energy and primarily boost our industry, which has suffered more than anything in the country. So we're going toward the future. We need to realize that hydrocarbons are going to be the part in 20 or 30 years. So we must put more effort in. I think that one of the things that we don't realize is Balochistan, being largely desert, has ample source of solar. It's just putting the energy in. We take money in, initial investment, and that would accrue to provide further resources to have a country that is dependent, but an energy exporter, and into a grid into Central Asia, for example, and other countries. We can envisage that. So, some of these things, and that can accrue. I'm going to finish with Obor quickly, although I should go longer. This is what was envisaged. 6 routes, 6 channels, 6 corridors all the way across Eurasia. Slightly better visualized there. Pakistan being a focal point at this point for other nations of Central Asia and China, and even Russia, thinking about their prospects to export down and import from the Middle East and Africa. One of the best routes there is, less dependent on Europe, less dependent or constrained by Europe on the US, for example. And you can see where Pakistan is down here. It seems like only a small part, but at this moment in time, this is a fulcrum, this is a pivot. This is where things rely upon. If we can work it, everything else can happen also. One of the things and the principles that Obor, or this vision of China and Pakistan and other countries like Kazakhstan and other Central Asian countries and further afield have joined hands with is because it's all about coexistence and sharing on non-aggression, about mutually building our futures up in a global community without interference of each other's affairs, to help each other, raise each other up, not pull each other down. It seems like a contradiction in terms whilst we've been suffering so much in this past, but we're turning a corner from our past, devastating past in this recent past that we've had, with many deaths we've suffered. We need to realize there's a better future out there for us and for others. We can be a leader in this. Improving connectivity means agricultural jobs, energy and water, trade and commerce, science and education. defense and security, building our capacity throughout Pakistan and throughout the world. I want you to understand how crucial this is for Pakistan, but also how crucial Pakistan is for the rest of the world's development. If we can't work it, this Obor can even fall apart. Primarily because everything is fixed on us now. All eyes are on us. We need to get together in this venture. Convergence through political, economic, and military civil defense. Again. So what is beyond Obor? What do I envisage? My own ideas here. Quickly. What is my vision? Global connectivity, transport, through transport, communication, and trade. Building and connecting economic blocks. Building a united global governance structure, maybe. Not the United Nations. A real structure for mutual sharing economically, strategically, politically. Economic density. I coined that term in a paper recently. Through connectivity and interdependence economically, thus sharing a piece of the pie. Everybody can have a piece. And reducing the prospects of war and aggression against each other. Because we absolutely dependent on each other to grow together. To stop the fighting. But all these organizations eventually, all these economic and political organizations can get together. And form some form for global economic and political integration. Real integration. I find that Obor has the prospect to invigorate this. It's a prospect of a shared human future. Not Islamic, not Christian, not atheist, not communist, not Hindu. Human. Together. People say I'm naive. People say I'm too optimistic. Without dreaming, we wouldn't be here. Without dreaming, we wouldn't fulfill what we do today. Dreams carry our future together. Through global connectivity. This I found in 1992. There was a map of the rail linkages. And this is Obor. Linking the world together, Eurasia, but greater than Eurasia. Some of the aspects of South America, Asia, Africa, and Middle East combining together, for example. The same countries are trading together with each other and others on a path and greater than the non-same countries. Non-same being these European more developed countries. Same countries being these here. The world is changing now through trade and commerce. Some of these values we can talk to you about later on. I'll send them to you, or we fix up, give you some references about these later on. So we're coming to the end. Global challenges are faced, there's no doubt. Power competition, economic competition, different spheres of influence, and different ideas and different ways of different regions. But is it about economic power? Or is it about unification, what we want together? Are we on the same platform? I think we are. So why are we not doing this? There's a crisis of understanding. Is interaction to undermine the long-term vision because of our short-term gains, and in each individual country rather sharing together. I find that Obor allows that. The investment that China is making in different countries to allow them to invigorate their societies economically, politically, to allow them to cooperate. However, we have a lot of conflicts, a lot of issues. Sustainable development is one of those issues.